What's up, guys? Thank you again for joining me for bobK0T0R. Today is not going to be gaming news, though. I wanted to do something a little bit different today. Like I'd said at the end of my previous video, I wanted to do a opinion piece, if you will, in this case about Nintendo as a company, as a whole, really. Now, mind you, I'm more or less speaking about the modern day Nintendo. I'm not going to be touching too much on the past Nintendo. I might be bringing them up here and there, but mainly as far as the Wii, the Wii U, and the 3DS is concerned, that's what I'm really focusing on in Nintendo's future. Now, to start things off, as Nintendo as a company overall, recently, obviously, they've been trying to corner two separate markets, being the console market as well as the handheld, with the Wii U and the 3DS. And then, really, nowadays, they're not exactly as good at competing with PlayStation and Xbox as far as the home consoles are concerned. Handheld, they're dominating. The 3DS and even the DS before it were far superior handheld systems to anything that could even rival them. I mean, in this case, it's really just the PSP and the PS Vita. But even in that, the 3DS is destroying them in terms of sales, quality of the library of games, and so on. But the real market, the real thing that everybody focuses on, for the most part, is the home console. And the Wii U has not done well at all. And now Nintendo is expecting a fairly big holiday season, but with the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 right around the corner, I don't think they're going to get that. And the reason for that is they don't necessarily have a lot of great big titles coming out around the corner. Admittedly, they did have a couple big releases this year, like Pikmin and so on and so forth, The Wonderful 101. But nowadays, even their new big franchises, their first-party franchises, like a Pikmin, like even Animal Crossing, and that kind of thing, kind of come few and far between. And even that, you'll have one or two of those brand new franchises release a game, and then in that same time frame, you'll have 3 or 4 Mario games, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because all of the Nintendo first-party titles are all generally very well done, which is one of Nintendo's strong suits. But the problem is, it's at this point we have tons of Mario games. It's more of the same. It's kind of like beating a dead horse with it, really. And because of that, it's forced Nintendo to try to adapt to new ideas, which is why with the Wii you saw more or less them trying to appeal to a broader audience, is a term that you hear a lot nowadays, where they attempted to get a lot of different types of games on the Wii, and it didn't necessarily work out for them because once the third-party developers, the bigger ones, realized that not a lot of their games were selling very well on the Wii because of the interesting control style, a lot of them backed out. And it's basically stayed that way ever since. I mean, you can look into any gaming retailer and you'll see tons of games available for the Wii, but finding the good ones are basically a needle in a haystack. And even at that, it's generally just Nintendo first-party titles, which again leads you back to my original point of kind of beating a dead horse, because those are the only things available. And the thing that you have to think about as well is the main franchises that they have are still very strong. Mario, Zelda, Metroid, Animal Crossing, Smash Brothers, anything that you can think of that was on a Nintendo console previously still does very well and is still a very good game. It's not, none of them are bad, but at this point, they kind of look like a pushover with no other games to support them. That's one of the reasons why everybody's looking at the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, is because they're going to have third-party support. Right out of the gate, Xbox announces an exclusive, Titanfall. We've already known about it for a few months, but again, that's Xbox exclusive. Of course it's coming to PC, but as far as consoles are concerned, they've already said PlayStation's never getting it. Nintendo wasn't even in the conversation to get it. And that's not being made by Microsoft. It's going to be exclusive to Microsoft, but nobody else is getting it, aside from Microsoft. And then Bungie's Destiny coming to Xbox One and PlayStation 4. That's going to be just on those systems, not even going to PC, and it's definitely not going to a Nintendo system. A lot of the big games that we're hearing about aren't coming to Nintendo. Very few of them did, and even at that, when Nintendo Wii U launched, you had a bunch of games that came out for it that were already released on Xbox 360 and PS3, and the Xbox 360 and PS3 versions, for the most part, were still better than the Wii U version. And they had time to recreate those versions for the Wii U. So it's still showing that same pattern that the Wii had, that they're not necessarily appealing to the much more mainstream audience, if you will, by getting like the Call of Duties or the Battlefields or Mass Effect or Assassin's Creed or any of those big name franchises over. It's not changing anything for them. So they have to find a way to basically make whatever they have in front of them, which in this case is their hardware, the Wii U, attract new customers. They have to figure out a way to get them on board, which this is getting into my rest of my opinion here. They have an amazing back catalog of games. They have games reaching all the way back to the NES, and even you can go to the Super Nintendo, N64, GameCube, hell, even the Wii itself. And they have games available that are actually really good. But the Nintendo Virtual Console that you see on not only the Wii and the Wii U and the 3DS, but there's nothing there. I mean, one of my biggest complaints is for the 3DS in particular. When the 3DS first came out, it was priced at $249.99, and then very quickly was price dropped to $169, much to the dismay of people who bought in early. So Nintendo created what was called the Ambassador Program in order to get people to not feel as bad about buying the system early. In the Ambassador Program, once you signed up for it and clarified that you did buy the system when it was $249, you actually got, I think it was like 10 free downloadable games, and all of them were Nintendo first-party titles. If it was a third-party title, it was one that did very well for them. So you got 10 great games because you bought the system early. So that more than evens out the cost of what they paid for the system. Every single one of those games has yet to be released on the Virtual Console for 3DS. Now, I'm not saying they should give them away for free, because obviously that would defeat the purpose of giving out the Ambassador Program. But why can't I pay $10 for Fire Emblem Sacred Stones to play on my 3DS? What's stopping that? Why can't I go on my 3DS and play my copy of River City Ransom for the NES? Why can't I go on there and play any of my Super Nintendo games that I have available for my 3DS? We already know the 3DS can handle N64. Why can't that play on it? Obviously, I'm not telling you to put the cartridge in it, but the downloadable version. They have games, a huge catalog of games that they're just not even bothering with. But yet again, when you look over to PlayStation, they have the PlayStation Network, PlayStation 1 Classics. Admittedly, I could say the same thing about them. They have a ton of games available, but they still have even a ton more. Hopefully we'll see that kind of flourish with PlayStation 4, but that's a different topic for a different day. Nintendo has a catalog that is arguably larger than anyone else's, and they're not necessarily taking advantage of their past to craft their future, and that's what they should be doing. And I don't know about you, but I would really love the idea of, if I don't own a Wii U personally, but I would love the idea of playing any of those games that I just showed you on the Wii U gamepad. Why, especially if they're trying to promote the idea that somebody else can use the TV while you're gaming, why not give that player more options to play on their gamepad, as opposed to just the Wii U titles that they have out? And even at this point, the digital age is here, no matter what people want to admit. I mean, you can go back to my video where I complained that Microsoft decided to cancel the DRM for their next-gen system because of all the features it had to axe because of it. The digital age is here. That's why you're going to be able to download and stream games on your Xbox One and PlayStation 4. That's why Steam is such a huge thing for PC. And same thing as Origin, as janky as it may be. Nintendo needs to kind of hop on that bandwagon if they want to stay competitive overall. Admittedly, again, the 3DS is selling really well, so in the handheld space, they're fine. The only real competition they have is mobile, which, as far as Nintendo versus mobile gaming is concerned, to me, that's more of a... Mobile gaming, to me, is if you want to kill some time and just play something for a few minutes, that's great. Mobile game is great for you. But if you want something that's going to be engaging in a handheld experience, something that you can pick up, play a bit, get really immersed, and then put down and come back to later, that is what Nintendo offers. That is what the 3DS offers. And that's even more of a reason why I believe, again, they should be attempting to take advantage of their back catalog, because they have those types of experiences there as well. Especially with the ability, in a game that you don't really want to pause, you can just shut the 3DS, pop it back open, and you're right back where you left off. There's no reason Now Nintendo can't do that. Even if it's licensing issues, they own half the properties anyways. Or if they don't, they can buy them back. And at this point, I'm hoping the Wii U can stay competent. I'm hoping with the release of the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, people will finally realize now that all the consoles are out, what they like better. So maybe Nintendo will have kind of a hidden edge there, as far as maybe people don't really like the Xbox One or the PlayStation 4. Maybe they don't feel it's different enough from their predecessors, and they might decide to jump to the Wii U. But again, who knows? I mean, Nintendo does have games for the Wii U coming out, like, for example, the biggest one of them all, if you will, would be Super Smash Bros. That was arguably the biggest release on both the Wii and the GameCube. And it'll be just as big, if not bigger, this time around. That will be a game that sells them consoles. Same as Mario Kart. Same as when Wii Fit comes out. All of those games were system sellers in their own right. For the 3DS, we just had Pokemon. Within the first 2 days, it sold 4 million copies. Nintendo is not going to be going away anytime soon. But if they want to stop the bleeding, if you will, they're going to need to turn around and hopefully do something about their future. But to re-summarize everything I've said, the broader audience that Nintendo has appealed to has sold them systems with the Wii, but hurt them overall as far as what games are available for those same systems. And now it's finally starting to reflect on how dire of a situation Nintendo may be in. Nintendo's not going to be going anywhere anytime soon, though, especially when they have great selling games coming out soon, like a Smash Brothers, like Pokemon, and so on and so forth. And at the very least, Nintendo will always have its handheld market, because Nintendo has been and most likely always will be the juggernaut there. But again, that was just me more or less rambling about my thoughts of Nintendo. If you have a comment, feel free to leave it down in the comment section if you have a thought or an opinion, so on and so forth. Feel free to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you feel the video is worth enough, share it to your friends, see what they think about it. But I will talk to you guys again tomorrow as I bring up gaming news tomorrow.